For the first time in modern history, a U.S. ally has taken a step so bold, so calculated, and so unusually deliberate that analysts in Washington are now asking whether a red line has just been crossed, and why Donald Trump suddenly stands at the center of it all, even though he didn't start it. And which ally did it? Let's dig into it. Canada did not act without reason, and this move was not a spontaneous reaction. It was the result of something that has been building for months, perhaps even years, a chain of frustration, warning signs, and silent disputes that most of the public never heard. And when Ottawa finally chose to cross a line that every other ally has carefully avoided, they didn't just send a message to Washington. They sent a message to the entire world that something in the US-Canada relationship has fundamentally shifted. And what worries observers isn't just the action itself, but the timing. Why now? Why this moment? And why does Donald Trump become the central figure, even though he wasn't the one who initiated the conflict? For decades, the US-Canada partnership functioned like a smooth machine. Sometimes tense, yes, but always resolved behind closed doors. Yet the past few months show that the old model is breaking down, with issues piling up from tariffs, border rules, energy disputes, and trade disagreements, creating a growing sense that what was once stable is no longer stable. According to political sources in Ottawa, Canada believes a series of recent decisions from Washington have directly harmed their economic interests, and when negotiations failed to bring any meaningful change, they chose to respond openly, forcefully, and unmistakably, as if signaling that their patience is no longer endless. And the real question is, could this be the spark that ignites the collapse of a relationship the world believed could never break? And if this alliance truly begins to fracture, who pays the price first? And how far will the consequences spread? Leave your thoughts below. Even though Canada's action is a reaction to US policy, the name repeated most often in analysis is Donald Trump. Not because he instructed Ottawa to act, but because he reshaped the US-Canada relationship more dramatically than any leader in recent history. And those changes never truly disappeared. They simply sank beneath the surface, waiting for a moment to rise again. Donald Trump represents an era where America prioritized absolute leverage in trade, used tariffs as pressure tools, and treated agreements with allies as negotiable transactions rather than obligations. And as Canada makes this unusually bold move, many analysts see echoes of that era, as if old tensions are resurfacing, even with different leaders, in a different context, with different motivations. What matters here isn't whether Trump was right or wrong, it's how the world interprets Canada's decision, and how Donald Trump has become a symbol of a period when America's dominance was no longer seen as unquestioned, prompting allies to wonder whether they could, or should, act more independently from Washington. And the bigger question now is, if Canada dares to cross the red line, are other nations, those who once felt pressured by the US during Trump's presidency, watching closely to see whether they can make similar moves without facing consequences? We cannot ignore the reality that Canada is not a confrontational nation. They are not the kind of ally that uses bold moves to send messages. And yet this time, they chose a path no one expected, crossing a boundary they had always avoided, revealing a deeper shift in the global balance of power, not through war or conflict, but through the way allies are beginning to redraw their own limits. The truth is simple. Allies only take bold actions when they believe the old order no longer protects them, and Canada's decision shows they believe their interests are now threatened in ways they have never experienced before, and silence is no longer an option. This raises a question that Washington may not want to hear but cannot avoid. If a gentle ally like Canada dares to cross the line, how far will nations that have long drifted away from the US, in Europe, the Middle East, or even Asia, go when they feel cornered? And deeper still, could this be a sign that America is no longer the fixed center of its alliance system, and that the world is gradually shifting toward new centers of gravity? If you're still here, then you already see what many prefer to ignore. That even the strongest alliances have breaking points, that even the closest partners have limits, and that sometimes a single unexpected decision from a soft-spoken ally like Canada can trigger a chain reaction powerful enough to reshape the global order. In the days ahead, we'll learn whether this was just a one-off decision or the first signal of a new era, one in which allies no longer follow America's lead, but begin writing their own chapters. Share your thoughts below and stay with True Talk, because if Canada was willing to cross this line, the next chapter will be even bigger. This is True Talk, where we do not excuse the inexcusable and we do not stay silent.